So the Ace family is being accused of lying in a recent video that they made titled "The Scariest Day of Our Life." The Ace family had been trying to post every single day in December for Vlogmas, and this was one of the videos that they posted. And they sat down to do a story time because they said they hadn't done one in a while, and they've been wanting to tell this story.
Actually woke up this morning, we had like all these errands to run, and I was telling Austin we should probably do a story time today just because we haven't done one in a long time. And I feel like we have like a lot of stories that we haven't told you guys.
Have we ever done a story time on YouTube?
Yeah, we've done many like years ago. We just haven't done one.
They said they wanted to talk about one of the scariest days of their lives that involved their children. And they said this happened 1 year ago, and this was one of the most traumatizing things that's ever happened to them. So they just like felt like they needed to share it now.
Do we really want to share this?
The absolute most scariest, most traumatizing, most outer body, most terrible experience that I think both of us have ever gone through together.
I don't even like thinking about this situation.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
They said they were home with their 3 kids, Austin's mom and grandma. Their security guard was there. Catherine had a friend over, and the friend had a daughter. They said it was a regular day, and their daughter Elle and her friend's kid were playing together, and Catherine saw them. She saw them literally playing together. But she says everyone was kind of doing their own thing. These are very close people in their lives, so everyone was just kind of going about their thing. Austin told Catherine that he was going to go to Jamba Juice for a second, and he ended up taking the 2 other kids that did not have a friend over, Steele and Alea. As Austin is about to make this Jamba Juice run, Catherine says that her friend walks in and asks where the girls are, meaning her daughter and Elle. And Catherine was like, oh, they're probably playing hide and seek.
In that moment that he walked in and asked if we wanted Jamba Juice, Yesenia, who's our good family friend, walks in and she's like, hey, have you seen Elle and Janelle? And I was like, I think they're in the theater room, I just saw them there. And she's like, no, they're not there. She's like, oh, they're probably playing hide and go seek. Like, I'm gonna go look in the other closet. And I know, because I know that they're always playing hide and go seek, like between the kids. And then they'll do it even to me where I'm looking for Elle.
And then the story proceeds to get a little weird because Catherine then tells Austin, she just knew they weren't actually playing hide and seek. She had this like mother's intuition that it was something else. And Austin is kind of going back and forth with Catherine like, what do you mean? Like they were, playing hide and seek. Like that's what everyone thought.
They'll do it even to me where I'm looking for Elle. At that moment in time, I was like, she probably just missed her. Like, they probably just missed each other, okay? Not really hiding from her. So,
or they just couldn't find her because they have good hiding spots.
No, because they didn't really do it like that. I mean, unless at that moment.
Well, we always play hide and go seek in our home. It's like a regular family game, especially when you have a bunch of kids. You just play hide and go seek.
Yeah, but I know like internally, like I guess as a mom, I just knew they weren't playing hide. I knew Elle wasn't playing hide and go seek at that moment. For whatever reason, like I just knew.
It's just confusing because who were they playing hide and seek with then? Nobody in the house knew that they were playing, but they were both hiding. And then her saying that she felt deep down that they weren't actually playing a game, it's all just very weird. So then they continue. They said Austin goes to Jamba, and as Austin's grandma is about to leave the house, her friend comes up to her and is like, I can't find the girls. Catherine said Austin's grandma ended up leaving the house as, her and her friend are trying to figure out where the girls are. She's yelling for the girls, and they were not coming to her. She then starts detailing how secure the house is. They have a security guard. They have 24-hour security. So everyone's like, okay, like, why aren't you looking through like the footage or, cameras around the house or something like that? But anyway, she says she's going around every single room looking for the girls. And even the security guard was saying that he hadn't seen anything. So they were like getting suspicious of him. They were like, what the heck? What do you mean you haven't seen them? Nobody's come onto the property. Nobody's left the property except for Austin's grandma. Austin said he was getting ready to call 911, but then he was like, okay, like, let me chill. It's just been 30 minutes. And Catherine says that she tries to call Elle because she has a phone and she doesn't answer. So she sends Elle a voice message screaming, being like, where are you? Get back here. And then said that she could see that Elle read the message, like her read receipts were on. And then she started to panic thinking, oh my gosh, someone kidnapped my daughter. They are on her phone. They listened to it. That's why she didn't respond. And she was getting really freaked out. So then they started to speculate whether or not their neighbors behind them, the only neighbors that they do not know, maybe took the girls. And then she starts to realize, oh my gosh, like I have Elle's location. And she goes to check and it was off. And she was like, oh my gosh, like maybe this person that kidnapped her turned her location off. And then she says like she remembers she never really turned the location on in the first place, she doesn't think, and everything just started to get very confusing for her.
I go on the shared locations and then I realize that it's off. So I'm like, okay, this person's smart, they took it off. But then I didn't remember if I had ever put the locations or not, right? So I'm like not remembering certain things, and it's going really fast.
Which is interesting because I feel like the main reason I would want to get my child a phone was so that I could contact them and also know where they are. But yeah, I guess she never turned it on. Anyway, it ended up being the case that Austin's grandma called Austin and Catherine and said that the girls were actually in the trunk of her car and they were asleep. And then Austin is like, okay, that's not actually what happened. And he interrupts Catherine and says the girls didn't fall asleep in the trunk of the car because those voice memos were listened to.
She goes, you will not believe this. I am so upset right now. I can't believe this is happening. The girls are in my trunk and they're sleeping.
No, they weren't sleeping.
They weren't sleeping?
No. They tried to say when they went to go hide in grandma's car, they were hiding and they fell asleep while they were hiding. So that's why they weren't responding. But we were like, then who was listening to the voice messages? So we knew that was cap.
They basically said that the girls were playing hide and seek and went into the garage and hid in the trunk of his grandma's car. And Austin is like, yeah, they thought that the friend's mom was playing hide and seek with them. And maybe it is the case that the girls were like, okay, hide and seek, but we're not going to tell anyone that we're playing. And then this whole mess happened, which is, what Catherine and Austin are saying here. But people are just a little suspicious of this story. One, because it's them, and two, because they're like, you're saying your house is super secure and you have cameras everywhere and she has a phone and you don't, but do have her location, and interesting stuff.
As they were playing hide and go seek, they hid in grandma's car, which was in the front of the house, in the garage basically. And they took it as far as going in the garage, hopping in grandma's car. Like I said, they're pretty good freaking hiders. Hid in grandma's car as Yesenia and other people were looking for them. And happened to be perfect timing of when grandma was leaving to where grandma hopped in the car. They still thought the game was going on, clearly. And as grandma was backing her car out to leave, they were trying to stay quiet.
Austin then says that it wasn't until they got Catherine's voice memos that they realized they were in big trouble, and so they didn't respond because they were scared they were going to get in trouble. People thought that this was absolutely crazy because Austin's grandma lives in Palmdale, and that is a good hour away from LA and traffic. So this was a long ride that they were going on, and they just could not believe that this had occurred. Catherine says that she drove over there once they all realized this and met his grandma at a gas station and smacked Elle for this. Austin says later on that he had a grown-up conversation with her about how bad the situation was and how scary it was for them. And let me tell you guys, people were not having any bit of this story time, that is for sure, especially with how happy they seem to be sharing this traumatic story.
I'm glad we shared this story because, obviously we weren't even thinking about sharing the story. It was just kind of one of those things that happened. But I feel like now sharing it it's nice for you guys to know kind of what we went through.
And what I think is cool for those who are still watching, for all my parents out there, leave your story down below in the comments. I would love to read some of your guys' would you call it? Scary moments.
Yeah.
I would love to read one of your guys' scary moments with your kids down below.
And people commented questioning them and said, liars explaining your kids for content. A little hard to believe that between you and all your security team, no one saw the girls. Try again, Ace family. Keep the lies and clickbait coming. They found them in the trunk. What? How did they breathe? There's no oxygen in the trunk. Come on. Now, there's no way this is real. I don't know how you can get millions of people to believe your insane stories complete rubbish. You should be ashamed of yourselves for telling such tales when there are really exploited missing children. It's disgusting. There's no evidence that you showed us. How are people supposed to know if you were telling the truth? People will do anything for clout, then proceed to tell the story smiling with no reactions. For such a traumatic experience, you talk about it with such happiness that it is almost like you are normally talking. So they opened the trunk, then took the keys back inside, went back outside, somehow got in the trunk and closed it from inside the trunk. LOL. Full-time security, but no security cameras. kept sending voice memos before calling the police. Shirley needed to open her trunk while getting gas. It's 57 minutes from LA to Palmdale. That's 57 minutes of not knowing where she is, and you haven't called the police? Sounds like the only ones capping here is you two. I mean, my first question for sure was security cameras, and you have all of these luxury cars. There's no way that you don't have cameras on those cars at all time, and I think it's super weird for them to admit this all on camera. But I certainly want to know what you guys think about this little story time that the Ace family decided to share with everyone. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.